Hi, this is Mrs. A of Math A Math It. In today's video, you're going to learn how to find the sum and product of the roots of quadratic equations. Now, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share my videos. Do you remember the formula for quadratic? The quadratic formula is x is equal to negative b plus and minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Wherein here, we have two values of x. One value of x is equal to negative b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, and the other value of x is negative b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So now, what we're going to do here is just to derive the formula for the sum of the roots. And we call the first value of x as x sub 1 and the second value of x as x sub 2. So here, we already separated these values of x, which means we're going to add. So let's see now what we can eliminate here. So we have here negative b plus negative b, and that is negative 2b. But here we have positive square root of b squared minus 4ac, and we have minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. This will be equal to 0. So what is left now is negative 2b all over 2a. Still, we can simplify this. We can cancel this 2 here, and therefore, x sub 1 plus x sub 2 is equal to negative b over a. So now, this is the formula in finding for the sum of the roots of quadratic equation. Just remember this one. Negative b over a. Next, same thing with the product of the roots of quadratic equation. We are going to use the quadratic formula to derive the formula for the product of the roots. So again, we're going to separate the two values of x here, and this time let's call again the first value as x sub 1 times x sub 2. Okay, so what we have is here. So this is just like multiplying binomials times binomial. So here, negative b times negative b, that is positive b squared. So here, positive b squared. Now, let's multiply this negative b times this one, and that is positive because we're multiplying negative and negative. So just copy b and then square root of b squared minus 4ac. Okay, that one. And then next we are done with, let's label that one so we know that we are done with that. We are done with this, and we are done with this. Okay, so let's proceed now to the last term here, which is square root of b squared minus 4ac times here. So that is negative b, just copy again, b squared or square root of b squared minus 4ac. That's it. And then the last one is to multiply this again with the last term, and that is now, this is positive times negative here, and that is negative. And then since we are multiplying the same term like this, or the same expression, simply we're just going to square it. Square root of b squared minus 4ac times square root of b squared minus 4ac. So this one. Then 2 times 2 are 2a. 2a times 2a is equal to 4a squared. Now, let's see what we can eliminate here. Okay, here we have positive b square root of b squared minus 4ac, and here is minus, so that is 0. Okay, so what we have now is b squared here, that's it, minus the remaining here, which is square root of b squared minus 4ac, and then the exponent 2 divided by 4a squared. Now, look at this. This is square root sign. Understood the index here is 2. And we have exponent 2 here, which means we can cancel this radical sign. So what we have now is this one, b squared, that's it. And then, no more parenthesis or radical sign because we canceled out, so that is now b squared plus 4ac. And then, another one, we can subtract this, b squared minus b squared is equal to 0. So what we have now is 4ac all over 4a squared. And then again, we can cancel this one, that is 1. And then a, we have a squared here, means a times a. So we can eliminate the other a. So what left now is a. That's why we have c over a. Sorry about my a, that's not 9, that's a. I have a hard time here. Okay. So a times a. Now, what we have is c over a. And that is now the formula in finding the product of the roots of quadratic equation. That is c over a. Now, what do we need in order to solve for the sum and products? We just need a quadratic equation in standard form so we can find the value of a, b, and c and then substitute in this formula. So let's have an example. We have here, find the sum and the product of the roots of quadratic equation x squared plus 2x minus 4 is equal to 0. Now, this one is already in standard form. So we can find the value of a. The a is the coefficient of x squared. The b is 2 here, the coefficient of x. And the value of c is negative for the constant. So I have here the formula for the sum, and we have here the product. Simply, we'll get the sum first. So x sub 1 plus x sub 2 is equal to negative b, and our b is 2, so negative 2 over 1, which is equal to negative 2. And the product of the roots, x sub 1 times x sub 2 is equal to negative 4, because that's the value of c, this is the formula, and over a, which is 1. So that is negative 4. Let's have another example. Find the sum and the product of the roots of this equation, 3x squared minus 4x plus 8 is equal to 0. So again, this one is in standard form. So a is 3, b is negative 4, and c is equal to 8. So let's get the sum of the roots, and that is negative. That is in the formula here. And then the value of b is negative 4. So that is, or divided by 3. So this becomes positive 4 over 3. And then we have the x sub 1 times x sub 2 is equal to 8, which is the value of c is 8. And then divided by 3, which is a. Okay, next. Find the sum and the product of the roots of this quadratic equation, x squared plus 8x plus 12 is equal to 0. Here's the value of a, b, and c. So very easy, right? Now, simply, that is negative 8 over 1, that is negative 8. And then, we have now, for the value of or the product of the roots, we have 12 divided by 1, that is 12. Okay, let's have another one. Look at this. This one is not in standard form yet. So we need to move this to the other side of the equation and it becomes positive. Because we need to add positive 8 on both sides of the equation. So the resulting equation now is 2x squared minus 6x plus 8 is equal to 0. And we can find the value of a, b, and c. A is 2, b is negative 6, and c is 8 here. And we can easily find the sum of the roots, and that is minus here outside the parentheses because that's in the formula here, negative quantity negative 6 because that's the value of b, and divided by a, which is 2. So this becomes positive 6 over 2, and that is 3. Same thing here for the product of the roots. C is 8 divided by 2, that is 4. Okay, now let's go back to this example number 3. Find the sum and the product of the roots. We already have the sum and the product here, negative 8 and 12. If you look at this value of, or the result for the product of the roots, look at this and compare it to the value of c in the quadratic equation. And here, the sum of the roots, compare it to the middle term. The same number, but different in sign. Here, the same number at all. So, which means that we can find the equation or the quadratic equation given the sum and the product of the roots. This is the pattern. Just simply copy this x squared, that one, minus sum of the roots, which is negative 8. Then just put x beside that, plus what? Product of the roots, which is 12. So we have x squared minus, because here in the pattern it's minus, then the sum of the roots is negative 8 plus 12 is equal to 0. So this one becomes positive, which is positive there. See? We can do the reverse. As the equation, same as this. Let's have another one. It means now that given the roots, we can find the quadratic equation. So please remember this patterns here, x squared minus whatever the result for the sum of the roots times x plus the product of the roots is equal to 0. Okay, so a quadratic equation has two distinct roots. First root is x equal to 2, and the second root is x is equal to negative 1. So what are we going to do? Is simply get the sum of the roots. Okay, so now the sum of the roots is equal to 2 plus negative 1. 2 is x, first x, and then negative 1 plus negative 1 is equal to 1. What about the product of the roots? X sub 1 times x sub 2 is equal to, multiply these two. 2 times negative 1, so 2 times negative 1, that is equal to negative 2. Now, we can now substitute sum of the roots as 1 and product of the roots as negative 2. So we'll just simply copy this x squared. So x squared minus here, and what is the sum of the roots? That is 1. So understood there is 1 here, and then times x here, so x. And then the product of the root is negative 2, so therefore minus 2 is equal to 0. It's easy, right? Let's have another one. Form a quadratic equation whose roots are 6 and 5. So look at this. X sub 1 plus x sub 2, which is the sum of the roots. 6 plus 5, that is 11. And then we have x sub 1 times x sub 2, which is the product of the roots. 6 times 5 is equal to 30. And the resulting quadratic equation now is x squared, just copy that one, minus, and the sum of the roots is equal to 11. So minus 11 times x, so x, plus product of the roots, and that is 30. So this is now the quadratic equation that we formed. X squared minus 11x plus 30 is equal to 0. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you for watching. This is Mrs. A. Please don't forget to subscribe and share my videos. See you in the next one. Bye.